Hi guys, I just wanted to record a little video for you on how to study for SQL exam for your next class. So we're gonna go over what will be in the exam format, and I'll also show you what material will be covered in SQL exam. We did talk about that in class briefly, but this is just to summarize and make sure that you guys know what will be covered. Uh, so, before we talk, first of all, topics are posted in SQL Exam Study Guide in SQL Exam module that should be in your Canvas, and there is a specifically module dedicated to SQL Exam. Exam will be in class. It's going to be about hour and 30 minutes or so. And there will be 10 questions. So let's go in the about let's go and review what exam will cover. Well, first of all, exam format, there will be 10 questions, 5 point each, total of 50 points. I will give you guys partial credit. So I want to make, if you guys tried writing a query, you will definitely get something. So a majority of the queries will require to retrieve data from multiple tables. So, for example, if you just tried, say, very simple select statements or select asterisks from customers, you probably will get like 1 point max. But if you include multiple tables, if you include joins, I will definitely give you better, larger credit. So we will be using Canvas. Please bring charged laptop. We go through that over and over again, but just want to make sure that you guys aware that you will need laptop for SQL exam. You will need to be able to write queries using SQLite database. That means that you will need SQLite database installed and functional. You need to be able to use SQLite database, and you will be writing queries using SQLite. When you come to class, I will ask you to show me your SQLite database. You must not have any open queries in SQLite prompt. Also, you will not be able to use any materials, so please study, please know your SQL statements, please know all the operators you will be using, so no cheat sheets, just your brain and your SQLite database, and be ready to write select queries for me. We will not be using responders browser lockdown. So with that in mind, please do not cheat. Please submit your own work. Please make sure to not collaborate with other students. I have zero cheating tolerance policy in this class. If I will find you cheating, I will report you. So you will be using SQLite database to run your queries, so you must have a SQLite installed on the laptop, and you must know how to use it. So hopefully by now you know how to use it, because we've been writing SQL for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So that's about the exam format. Here's a couple of examples of queries on how they will look in the exam. So there will be very detailed information on what needs to be retrieved. If I want you to order a query, I will state so in the example. So I'm going to also give you a couple of hints what to do. So in this case, I want you to use full join, and I will also in every query will let you know how many rows the query must return. Okay. That's one example. Another example here of the query that similar queries will be in your exam. Again, like you can see here that I ask you to retrieve a specific data, track ID, name, and links and category for all tracks. And I ask you categorize them into 3 categories, and the category names are here. And I also ask you to for those results to be sorted by name from Z to A, meaning descending. And here's hints. So must use case keyword and must return 3500 3 rows. So that's how all the format of queries will look in the exam. So topics covered. For those of you who already looked at SQL exam module, you know the topics the topics that will be covered. We will only be writing select statements from 2 lectures, SQL and Advanced SQL. Also, make sure to know how to write queries from both homeworks, homework 3 and homework 4. We will only be using data retrieval, select, no DDLs, no inserts, no updates. So just know how to write select queries. Okay. Exam will cover simple SQL queries that include 1 table or advanced queries that will include 2 or more tables. You will need to understand how to join multiple tables together, left join, right join, equi join. Please review those slides. Please also look at the exercises that we did in class. We will be doing subqueries, only non-correlated subqueries. There will be no correlated subqueries. Please understand how to write subqueries in where, select, and from clause. In this case, Celeste. We will be using please understand what is the difference between it's Celeste misspelled, so difference between select asterisk and select distinct. So asterisk select everything, distinct select only unique combination of records, a unique combination of columns. So understand aggregate functions, count, mean, max, average. Understand group by clause. Well, understand how to use like, between, in, not in, less, greater, and so forth. Boolean operators and not or. You will need to understand the default order of Boolean operators and how to override default order of Boolean operators. And the way we override them is we are using parentheses to override default order of Boolean operators. And default order is not, and or. And to override it, we use parentheses. So how to study for the exam? Well, first of all, you need to be familiar with, we'll be using Chinook database. So you will need to be familiar with Chinook database. And the way to get to familiarize yourself with the Chinook database is to get to look at the database diagram. Database diagram is a part of Chinook download that you all have on your machines. So it's part of Chinook SQLite zip file, and it is in a PDF format. So here is a very basic, here is a diagram. It's entity relationship diagram for our database. So you can see it's not complete diagram. So for example, in the invoices, it says like 4 more columns here, but it gives you an idea. So this diagram, well, first of all, you need to understand those tables. And by now you should be more or less familiar with those tables. But diagram helps you to identify how to link tables together. So for example, in this case, we have a customer and invoices. So we know how to read diagrams. So customer can place 0 to many invoices. So many is on the invoices side. You can see Crowfoot here. So and one is on customer side. So as we remember from our relational database logical design lecture, a foreign key always lives on the many side of relationships. So, and primary key lives on one side of relationship, and relational databases only support one to many relationships. So in this case, primary key sits on the customer table and it is customer ID. And foreign key sits on the invoices table. And obviously, it's a customer ID, and one customer can have many invoices. So there can be many records in invoice table for a specific customer. Well, and so forth. And here's an example of unary relationship between employees and itself. So employee ID is a primary key, and well, we don't see a foreign key here, but that would be a manager ID or something like this. Again, get familiar with the table, with the diagram. Make sure you understand how to join multiple tables together. So, for example, if you need to find tracks for customers, you need to join customers, invoices, invoice items, and tracks. So, for example, if you need to find genres for tracks, so we know that genre name stores in genre table, and genre ID is a foreign key in tracks. Similar to tracks and albums, album is on one side of relationship, and it is a primary key album ID. Tracks is a many side of relationship, so it has foreign key album ID. Employees and customers, similar ideas. So customers are on many side of relationship. Employee ID, employees on one side of relationship. So there is an relationship between employee and the customer, and customer has foreign key, and so forth. So please spend a little bit of time, get familiar with the data model, understand where foreign key and primary key lives, understand how table are related to each other, get ready to write queries. You'll not be able to use this diagram in the exam. However, you will be able to see the actual structure of the database. You will have a SQLite open. I'm going to show you once again how to open the database, just to make sure that everyone is on the same page. So the way you open your SQLite database, you can double click on the database, but I prefer to open my SQL through the SQLite application. So in this case, it's always helpful to have a database option checked, and status too. In the status, you will be able to see the status of your query execution. And in this case, I closed all the databases, so I'm going to show you how to add a database again. I know you guys should know that by now, but I still have people asking the same question, so here it is. You need to find the location of your Chinook database in your folder structure. For me, it sits on the desktop, and I have SQLite folder. So my Chinook database sits right here. Again, you click OK, and you will have your Chinook database ready. You double click it, you have your tables. You click arrow on a table, you have your columns. You open up columns, you know what columns exist. So the way to write a query, you can double click, you can right click table, and you can do a select, and here you can execute query using the arrow. And or another way to write a query is to go to tools, open SQL editor, and here's your empty SQL editor, so you can type your query here, for example. Just need to select this here. All right. Yeah, now you can make it pretty if you want using T button. All right. So, that's very basic on the database. Let's go back to our presentation. Where is it? Okay, it's right here. So how to study for the exam? Get familiar with the data model. We just looked at the data model. Homework 3 and 4, you must know how to write all the queries for those homework. Practice, look again and review what you did for homeworks. And I know that some of you have not completed homework 4 yet, but for those of you who didn't, please make sure that you understand how to write queries for homework 4. Um, Slides for SQL class and advanced SQL class. So let's look at those slides. I hope you guys know where to find them, but if not, every module in Canvas have slides. So in this case, we're looking for a SQL module, and you can look at SQL lecture. This is lecture, so please make sure to review the lecture and understand how to write a select statement. Again, exam is not going to cover anything related to DDL. So you might scroll up through DDLs and creates, and the only thing that will be covered in exam is uh, DML, but we will not cover insert or delete or update, so only select statements. So starting slide 29 in SQL lectures, that is what exam will be about. So please review the slide, please understand how to write basic select statements, please understand how to use different operators, in this case, like Boolean operators. Please know the default order of Boolean operators, know how to override default order of Boolean operators here, know how to use is null and is not null statements. Understand how to use between, very important ones. So understand how to select distinct values. What is the difference between selecting distinct or not using distinct. Understand how to use in and not in operators. And further down, review what is group by, order by, and having clause do. So as we know, order by is for order in the result set. Default order by is ascending. So if you want to sort them descending, you need to specify that. Understand how to use group by clause, what is an aggregate function, what does it do, and having clause is used with a group by to filter the results. Okay, so that is all for SQL lecture. Now let's go back to advanced SQL lecture and review what is important in advanced SQL lectures, what will be covered on exam. So advanced SQL lecture has a lot of examples. I mentioned it to you guys in class, but the way advanced SQL lecture is structured, after we looked at different types of joins, I have a bunch of examples here, and examples starting on slide 11. So and the entire lecture has a bunch of examples. So if you look at the slides that has a header in italic, you know that those are examples. And in this case, we usually have examples followed by the answers. So those are examples for inner joins. So those are queries for those examples. Then we have outer join examples, and we have queries for those examples so you can test your knowledge, and also you know how many rows must be returned here and so forth. So please make sure to get familiar with those examples. Examples like this will be on exam. So again, advanced SQL lecture, please review all the examples that lecture has. Okay, and there's a bunch of them. So every single slide has examples. You can see that they're all in italic. All right. So that's about lectures. Now going back to our slide. Um, so slides for SQL and advanced SQL classes and in-class exercises. Where do I find the in-class exercises? Again, in-class exercises are in Canvas under modules. So both SQL and advanced SQL module have in-class exercises. So for example, SQL module has in-class exercises. Oh, it's in PDF. Let's go back. SQL in class prerequisites. Well, anyways, so those are the examples of what we did in class. So please eliminate. You can look at DDL, but DDL is not going to be part of it. So start from select examples. And select examples start somewhere on page, I believe, 11 or 12. But once you see select examples here, so start from select examples, test yourself. So start from simple ones. For example, find all the invoices with total greater than 5. Here's your basic select statement, and then you can test your results here. So I usually have examples and then answers, and same thing. So then another example and answer for that. So, and further down you have more examples. So please get familiar with those examples for SQL class. Going further, look at advanced SQL, and advanced SQL has also examples, and I have a presentation recorded for you guys. So you can look at in-class exercises here on advanced SQL. Again, there's a bunch of exercises. So you can look at those exercises. Well, exercises are a little different here from what I have recorded in my recording, but the idea is very similar. So again, look at those queries. Make sure that you know how to write those queries. I also recorded presentation on how to write queries from scratch, so you can click here and watch it, and hopefully it's going to help you guys to understand how to do them one by one. So here you go. All right. You got an idea on how to study for the exam. If you have any questions, please let me know. That's all I have for you in preparation for SQL exam. And again, if you have any questions, please let me know.